totally unprepared.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to PGS Treks. I am your host, RM, and of course, we have with us my co host, Julian Mushkin, tonight. How are you, Julian?
I'm doing super. How about you, RM?
I am doing great. It was another very interesting week for Trek. We had another episode of Strange New Worlds, Julian. Um, did you get a chance to watch Strange New Worlds this week?
I sure did. I sure did. Um, yeah, that was another kind of tongue-in-cheek episode there. Yeah.
It was certainly we are getting some very interesting episodes, and I think that this is I think that this is one of the ones. Oops, that popped up. I didn't mean for that to happen. I think it's one of those episodes that Robert was talking about how he the part where, and I just he was I think it might have disturbed him, where of course, as you guys know, this is the episode where Spock. Um,
Yeah, very much disturbed him. Yeah.
Yeah. Here it says charades, and of course it's not that point. Maybe I can find the photo of what happens. We get to see Spock in his regular lifestyle and what he's like. And I wonder why I can't seem to find just one where he's. Maybe it is there. I can't tell the difference, but he kind of wakes up. And he says, "Oh, are my ears straight?" Like kind of making a pun about it. But he wakes up and he's not who he normally is. And that was, I think a lot of people would be very surprised to wake up after having this encounter. And it was some kind of foreign entity, right, Julian?
Yes. They're kind of on downtime. They're on their way to Vulcan because there's some sort of engagement affair that has to be done, a ceremony with the Vulcans where the parents are involved, and things like almost like a tea ceremony type of thing, and an airing of grievances or something. It's very strange. And there is some sort of phenomenon nearby that has been a mystery. Apparently, nobody has been able to find out anything about this. Apparently, an ancient race called the Kirkovians. Just the name itself, the Kirkovians. I'm like, okay, can you get a little bit more on the head? We're going to throw Kirk in here. And Christine and Spock go on the shuttle to investigate this phenomena. And something happens to them, and in the end result, as we find out that Spock has lost his Vulcan half.
Yeah, he's lost something, and it irks him so much that he's like, "What the fuck?" I mean,
Yeah.
what happens, right? So, that's essentially what he's saying. He's not saying "what the fudge" or anything like that. Profanity is flying out of his mouth. He says the F word, but he probably says it in Vulcan, right? I don't know, but it's translated for our listening pleasure, isn't it? He wakes up, and I could understand if he was augmented differently, but he kind of looks the same. It's just a subtle change in that, but it looks like he's completely human or completely something that he isn't, and this is a big problem for him because he has this huge event coming up, right, Julian?
Yes. They let us, find out that the mother-in-law, or prospective mother-in-law, T'Pring's mother, really does not approve of her marrying him because of his half-human, lineage. Although we're not exactly, we don't find that out until later. But she certainly is not. She's very overbearing, and even T'Pring is having a hard time with her. Yes, Spock loses his ears. Well, he has his ears, but they look human now. He loses his arched eyebrows. So I assume, I didn't notice, but it would have been, I don't know if they have tried to color his skin. I don't think they've done anything with his overall skin pallor as far as trying to make it look like Spock did in the original series, where he was a little bit paler because he has green blood, not red blood. So his skin pallor is different, and they did make an attempt to make Spock's skin look a little different in the original series. I don't think they've done that with Ethan Peck in this series, so I don't think that they, and it's too bad because it would have been interesting to see that, where that change and where he's like, oh, he's not pale anymore. He's, got red corpuscles going through his blood, so all of a sudden his skin is going to be more flesh color, more like human. And that would have been really interesting too. But apparently nothing like that really happened because it took a while for his mom to even realize that there was something wrong with him.
Yeah, and his mom, like she was a good-looking woman. Like she's kind of a hottie in this. Normally, they show her somewhat more chaste, but boy, she was like ready to hook up. I guess she heard about what goes on the ship, and she's like, if I'm going to show up on that ship, I've got to look smoking hot. I can't sort of like be, all chaste and kind of conservative. I got to make sure I'm showing everything, and she looks really, really good. You can't tell from here because she's wearing a ceremonial dress, but in the rest of the episode, she's looking fantastic. I wish they had a photo of his mom in somewhat more casual, but it starts off where he's sort of, you see him in interactions that now he's more comfortable in, and he gets the joke. Two Klingons, a Vulcan, and and a Ferengi go into a bar. He gets it all now. Like it's all of a sudden he's he's laughing. He's part of the group. They're laughing, and and he's even saying, did I behave weird before? Did I? He's like, of course you did. You did. You didn't suddenly forget that you've behaved unusual before. He also seems to feel like he almost has amnesia in a point.
Yeah.
He's not able to do his normal stuff. Like, looking at him, that's a heavy grooming regimen. He's got the hair is perfect and everything is all perfect looking. I wonder what he, like how he maintains these. You have to have somebody come in, a barber or something now. He can't remember what he does. Somebody get the comb. What happens? He's afraid to serve the tea. There's all sorts of stuff. His mother has to, help him out as if he's a child again. But he looks like he's having the time of his life. He's laughing. Oh, this is so funny. Oh my gosh. That's the best joke ever. Yeah. Surprisingly, the crew doesn't seem too frazzled by this, because if a crew member of mine came back and they were suddenly different from what they actually were, I would be very concerned for them. I'd be like, this is not funny, guys. Doesn't something need to be done? Did they take this not seriously, Julian?
I don't know. They certainly played it for all the laughs they could get.
Yeah, I mean, apparently this stuff happens all the time, Julian. It's just funny. It's just funny when someone wakes up and they're different from what they. It's hilarious. Let's have fun with it. They said in the episode, it's just look at them at the table. It's so funny. I can't stop laughing. There's him with, I've seen people do this. Like, I guess they have to get a haircut, or they had a cool haircut and then it grew out and they have to wear the thing. Yeah, who knew he had one? Apparently he's got a lot in there. A lot of things up his sleeve. And of course, there's his mother greeting him like, what's wrong with you, honey? Like, what's going on? Oh, boy. She wasn't so shocked by this. I think she could have been more, I guess maybe because they're on a, this craft in space, that anything can happen. She's not so shocked, but certainly his behavior was very different. And I don't know, it was very unusual. Poor guy. He's
her reaction was certainly more laid back than you would expect a mother, except in this situation where, as a human raising half human, half Vulcan child on Vulcan and having to deal with that, and I bet you that have been times in her life where Amanda has wished that he was human and not half human. And, so there must be 1,000 things racing through her. It's like, what is going on? And of course, she, as a mother, is worried about, her son and is he okay? And how can I help him? But at the same time, I don't know. That'd be tough to play. And I don't know, if it would have been a writer thing or an actor thing. But that would have been tough. But it just didn't feel quite right. It didn't ring true. And
yeah.
it didn't, at the same time, you have, Spock trying to hide it from her and Pike trying to be the wingman and, help him out as much as he can. He's like just following his lead. And I don't know. Just wasn't working out quite right.
I mean, it's very funny seeing the captain's response to a lot of this stuff, because he's had to deal with this for his whole career, if not longer, and every time there's like a Vulcan thing, he's like, yeah, I don't know, like he's like, it's I don't know about this, what they're having you to do. It is very funny to see the responses, because it is very interesting. And of course, the dilemma is that his in-laws are there, his mother's there. And you can see here the in-laws don't approve of him. They're not aware that anything's happened to him. It is kind of uncomfortable for him, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I don't know.
Well, and they had arranged so that that T'Pring would come onto the ship by herself, so that Spock could tell her what was going on, so she would know and figure out, be able to help him through this. But she comes on and she unloads on him her, but anyway, her frustrations with dealing with her mother, and it has just been driving her crazy, and she can't wait to have some time away from them, even for a small moment. And he decides that he doesn't want to burden her with the fact that, we could, potentially not be getting married after this because of this incident. So I think it was a mistake. I felt that as soon as he didn't tell her, but he probably should have told her, as we'll find out later. But they're trying to play it off with some prosthetics and stuff, and he's trying to act as Vulcan as he can. I don't get the way that they went with the portrayals of T'Pring's parents. They were very tropey. They seemed like just the lowest common denominator of how to play those, and I'm sure it was because that's the way they were written. But the husband, who's showing all sorts of emotions when they go to the party, he's all excited about eating the stuff that Pike has made and all this kind of stuff. He was excited. He was showing emotions all over the place. And I'm like, what is this? Is he a Vulcan or not? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yes, they have emotions. Do they show them? No. Married to that one, he better not be showing emotions, but he certainly was. And he was the tropiest of tropes for the husband who is totally controlled by the overbearing wife. So there was nothing interesting there.
Yeah, and she did say, hey, didn't you know I'm in this for the long haul, bro? Like, didn't you know I'm on board no matter what? Yeah, and there's the captain with, I guess, some Vulcan delicacies that he's prepared, which are unfortunately not to the standard that Vulcans would prefer, but he made him, and he sure looks good making him. I mean, he looks great in this. I would have just commended him putting his best foot forward. But seriously, even he is a little kind of stupefied by everything that's going on. And there's even a anal, I'm going to say anal kind of, this is annoying me to death moment where there's apparently a crew member who brings snacks and cakes to the ready room. Who knew, Julian, that muffins and cakes and things, there's all sorts of goodies you can snack on and eat during briefings in Starfleet. And this guy, he's just a pig. He makes a mess. He drops stuff all over the boardroom, table. This is unacceptable. I mean, this is the type of stuff that Spock would prioritize and be pissed off about, right?
Well, Spock, as regular Spock, would maintain his emotional and would not get frustrated by it because it's not logical to get upset by it. But he doesn't have those restraints, and so he unloads on Kirk's brother, Samuel Kirk, and gives him what for about making a mess. They're sitting at the briefing table. He's like, I will finish you. That was a little over the top, certainly. It was amusing, but...
It is something else. I mean, you can see there, he looks quite, serious there. And there's another part where we find out that, I don't even know if this was true or not, whether Vulcans have the same ability to taste herbs. Like, I have no idea if any of this is true. All I know is that I think that would have been something that the captain would have known. So, they made it a point. They wanted to make it a point. Apparently, they can't taste.
Well, so here's the people currently writing Trek treat it as if everybody watching these shows has never seen any other Trek before. And so they act like nobody in the show knows any of this stuff either. So let's go over it again. So we find out in Enterprise that T'Pol tells Archer that Vulcans are very sensitive to human odors. And so they often take a suppressant so their sense of smell is deadened so that they can work around humans on a regular basis. Now, Spock being half human, I don't know if he ever really had to deal with that. We never get a sense of that in TOS. I would think that as a half human, he was probably able to stomach it a lot better than most Vulcans. But we do know from canon that this is a thing that is established in Enterprise regarding Vulcan and human interaction. The other thing is that pretty much all Vulcans are vegetarians. So it's natural that he wouldn't have, eaten bacon before because he's a vegetarian. And we know that from TOS as well, that Spock is a vegetarian. So when he finally, I don't know, suddenly he can smell the stuff because he's not taking whatever it was that he had that was deadening his sense of smell was gone when they took away his Vulcanness, I guess. So yes, now he can smell everything and he's like, that's good. And it was kind of funny, him, eating all the bacon and stuff and just going, oh, this is good. Except that part of him should have been going, I find this kind of distasteful because I'm a vegetarian, but this is so damn good. He should have been going that way, right? But they didn't. They just didn't even deal with that.
It could have been lentils. It could have been, some other kind of tofu. Why not? Why? Oh my gosh, this tofu is delicious. Why not something like? Why not?
Because everybody loves bacon, and it's a trope. It's like, of course. Why? Why not? Of course, he's going to eat bacon because bacon. Everybody loves bacon, and.
Julian's face.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. He's a vegetarian, and that's totally just they just do away with that just because he's human now. But there are humans who are vegetarians and find the thought of eating meat very distasteful. So as a vegetarian Trek fan watching this, I might find it kind of a little bit offensive, you know? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a vegetarian, so I don't have to deal with worrying about that. But I'm thinking of perhaps what about people who have religious restrictions towards certain meats like pork for Muslim and the Jewish faith that don't eat pork. What if something like this was to happen to them, to take away their portion of their identity, just like what has happened here? You know,
I don't know.
how would you? Yeah, how is that? Maybe that's something that should have been thought about, and that perhaps that could have been part of the story of having to deal with if something of your identity is suddenly taken away.
That is very insightful. I want to know where I can get this kitchen counter because it looks amazing, Julian. This is, I need one of these. We need something like this in every kitchen, and I'll take the captain too. But it certainly is very, very interesting here. And of course, obviously the big reveal was the what the fuck comment of what's happened to him, and it is actually a very serious thing that's happened to him. Although I don't know whether I would have said that, and I don't think he would have said, or anybody would have said. They'd be like, "What is going on?" You'd be just so shocked about what's happened to you. Was it an inappropriate use of the word "fuck"? I don't know. It's something to think about going forward. And of course, the other very interesting part to all this is the bizarre ending. Guys, this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen it, I'm really sorry if you haven't seen it, but apparently, it's like you're waiting at bated breath as Chapel is talking to Spock and says, yeah, we need to talk. And he's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, it's kind of like talking to a teenager about a relationship, because he's not cooperative. You can't get down to the heart of the matter, but you eventually get to it where he says, and am I wrong, Julian? Did he say that he and T'Pring are no longer, like they decided to spend time apart?
Yeah. So yeah, we can get to that.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Well, part of the story as it begins is we're kind of seeing Spock going through some of his motions of the day, and we're seeing how his Vulcanness is kind of keeping him separate from the rest of the crew as far as like the interactions at the table, in the bar and things like that. We also notice that when he gets on the turbo lift with Christine, that he barely notices, he barely acknowledges the fact that she's there. And
he wouldn't have responded at all because as a Vulcan, he just wouldn't have shown any emotion. She just would have been there and nothing would have happened. He wouldn't have made a concerted effort to ignore her. He just would have just been normal, right?
Well, he ignored her completely. I think, Spock from TOS would have acknowledged her presence on the turbo lift, of course. He didn't even do that because he is feeling some strange issues regarding his attachment to her, which he realizes he has, which we saw with that, when she almost died, and he's like, don't die, so, and she knows it. She can feel it too. And they have shared, little confidences and things in the past. And so to see how he is trying to avoid that because he knows it's not proper and he shouldn't be doing it, because he's engaged to somebody else. And it just wouldn't be logical to become involved, with this other person. But once the Vulcan is gone, all of these things, he is apparently like a teenager going through hormonal, overdrive. And, he wants to be the friend to her, that he is feeling he has to be. At one point, she's trying to get into the Vulcan Science Academy, and she gets rejected, and he comes across her in the hall, and she says so, and he gives her a hug.
He does. Julian, it's normal to just hug other officers.
Well,
it's normal to do these things in a professional setting.
Yes, maybe. Yes, no, maybe. You know as well as I that we have social issues nowadays that certain actions can be misinterpreted by other parties, and so there are ways to behave in social settings and professional settings that to avoid these misapprehensions. And so he didn't even ask if he could give her a hug. He just encroached on her.
And you know as well as I do that 99.9% of the men out there would have asked, do you need a hug? Are you okay? Whatever. That's what would have happened. So that's what men do. They don't just randomly hug you like that.
But we're supposed to forgive Spock because he's in this new territory of emotions that he is still trying to navigate for some reason, because as a regular Vulcan growing up, he never had to deal with this stuff. This is kind of what makes no sense. Just because he was growing up on Vulcan and having to behave in a Vulcan manner does not mean he didn't feel the things that a normal teenager would feel when they were growing up, and doubly worse so for him as half human. And we've already seen in other canon material, how difficult his life was growing up. So it's, again, the writers treating the viewer as if we haven't seen any of this stuff, or none of this stuff has happened. And it's just this idea of presenting a bunch of our known characters from canon as if none of this stuff ever happened to them before. And it's just kind of hard to take sometimes. It's really ridiculous. Nonetheless, I want to say, I separating this from canon Trek, I still found things to enjoy, and I still felt myself a little emotionally interested in what was going on for these characters as this story is written. It's not the other Trek is the other Trek. This is its own story, and so I was interested in seeing it as a new thing. And also from seeing Jen Bush on Jess Bush, anyway, the actress who plays Christine on the Ready Room, and her talking about it and her feelings about, she gave some insight into how she's playing the character and why she's the way she is. And she certainly sees Spock in the way he's behaved to her as somebody who she can always trust, and he is never going to take advantage of her. She's never felt this about her character has never felt this about any other person. And so that's part of the attraction for her, is because of the way he interacts with her. She trusts him on a level she trusts nobody else.
And that means that she knows that if she can be with him, if she needs to, if they both need to be with one another, then he's not going to be like, drunk texting her a week from now, or like, I'm going to show all your photos on whatever it is, Starfleet social media pages. Nothing like that would ever happen.
Well,
he's not that kind of guy.
Most likely, but it's kind of funny because we're also seeing the way through a season and 5 episodes, how he has behaved regarding T'Pring. And he hasn't been the most stand-up guy for T'Pring, as we've seen. So it's kind of a curiosity, but I'm going to take it for what she's saying. This is how she sees the relationship. Added to the fact that, so she, as a geneticist, is trying to figure out how to get Spock's Vulcan part back, but they can't do it. They've figured out how to contact the aliens, and it's really quite funny. It's almost like calling a help desk or something, a customer service. They get an entity named Yellow, who says there was an accident, remediation was made, we repaired the 2 units, and everything is taken care of. You don't need to contact us again. And so they're like, no, wait, you don't understand. And then they're like, nope, this call is ended, and they won't talk to them again.
I need you to reopen that ticket, please.
Yes.
Can you please reopen the ticket? There's a big problem. Please take care of that. It is very interesting. She has to kind of plead the case. And she took initiative with, is it Ortiz? She took initiative with Ortiz. And they're both like, what do we do? I don't know. Ortega. And they're like, I don't know. What do we do? I don't know. Hey, bro. Hey, like it's very kind of casual encounter. It's like, hello, I am an officer on Starfleet, and we have a request, a formal. No, it was not like that. I was like, hey, yo, hello. Is someone? Hey.
Well, yes. Oh, when they realize that in like what 12 hours or 12 or 24 hours that they will not be able to reverse the effects that have happened to Spock, she and Uhura and Ortegas go in a shuttle back to meet with the Kirkovians, and they do, and of course they get Blue, who is like, you've passed the time of customer service window, basically. And this is unusual because we remediated this case. And she's like, no. And they're like, well, what is your relationship to the other person? She's like, are you close? Are you family? So she has to plead her case of why it matters to her that, they fix what they broke. And she expresses what it is, how she feels about Spock, which I felt was kind of nice. It was nice hearing her say that, and I felt a little emotional about how she feels about him and how she will feel if she's not able to get that back. And so within the context even of later story time, it adds to the feelings. I can see those feelings boiling within the Christine TOS. I can see that. And so I thought, okay, that kind of rings, it works with the other Christine in as far as how her emotions are playing towards Spock. And I could see that happening. She's just, because she's more of a, background player in TOS, we don't see that too much, but there it is. I did like that. And for her to be able to come and help Spock at the last minute with this thing is she gives him the injection that helps him. It's going to help him change back. And for them to kind of explain to each other, I think there's a moment where he's able to tell her, before she gives him the injection, and then he goes back out and finishes everything, and yeah, they make the party, the tea party ceremony thing ends, and everything seems to be okay, except that he goes ahead and tells everybody exactly. It was in the clear. He was in the clear, and this kind of rings back with 2009 Star Trek, where Spock's human half, when he is offered a position in the Vulcan Science Academy, and they said, you can come, and they said, this is quite remarkable despite your handicap. And he says, what handicap? And they go, well, your human heritage. And that Spock's like, well, I must decline your entry into the Science Academy. I'm going to go join Starfleet, so your record will be clean. You'll still have all, perfect Vulcans in the Science Academy. The way he responded, the way Ethan Peck responds was very reminiscent of what happened in that movie. The way he says, I'm not going to let you talk about my mother as a handicap. She is my strength. I mean, the things he says about her are great. I think they're wonderful things, and only a Spock who is human at this point in his time can say these things in front of everybody. He makes the most of it and says these things, which we know he thinks, but as a Vulcan would not be able to really communicate without letting those feelings overflow, right? So it's a good chance for him to be able to say all this stuff, especially in front of his mother.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And of course, one of the parts that I like the most, which is not a surprise, is when she goes and sees him. I guess she sees him in his quarters or something like that.
Are we talking about Christine?
Yes, Chapel, yeah.
Well, yes, so...
And she...
Yes, you were asking about being on a break. So yes, T'Pring and he are sitting on the bed, and she is like miffed at him for not telling him, because she said, like you said, I was willing to be with you whatever, despite everything. I'm ride or die with you. I don't care if you were half human, and why didn't you tell me? And he was like, I thought that it would overburden you. And she's like, yeah, but that's my decision to make. You didn't include me in that decision. So once again, we have the enlightened Trek males being, taking away the agency from the Trek females. This is the second time in how many episodes now where we've seen this happen, right? We had Pike take away agency from Captain whatever her name is, and saying maybe we should take a break because I'm bad for you. My association with you is toxic. And she's like, you don't get to just make that arbitrary decision, And so here we have Spock doing the same thing. I'm sensing a pattern here. Where I'm going with this. But anyway, T'Pring says maybe we need to take a break, since you don't seem to be quite on track with the ride or die situation here. It's, I'm the one you're engaged to. I'm the one you're supposed to be. You're everything, and you're not, giving me everything. So let's take a break and have some time to think about this. And of course, like Ross and Rachel, we were on a break. As soon as Christine shows up, it's like, oh, I was just coming to see you. And she's like, I'm here. What about it? And he's like, we're on a break. And next thing you know, they're kissing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that, his announcement of it at that moment, that, first of all, I think it's interesting that I guess she went to meet him in his quarters. Is that what it was?
That's what it looked like.
So she goes to his quarters, versus I guess you could meet in somebody's quarters, but usually, that kind of implies something, unless you're going to the captain's quarters and he's got the meals going. But I still think that implies something there anyway.
Oh, she could say that she was checking in on him to see if the therapy was taking hold, if he was back to normal type of thing.
Yeah, and she finds herself in his quarters, and she suddenly starts to talk to him about how things were, I guess because this ceremony was so very important. Like it was very important for him. And once it seemed like the whole thing had went well, like it worked, they managed to put it through. He wasn't rejected. There wasn't going to be huge repercussions. It was a surprise to hear that he was going to be taking time off. And once again, this is another, as you said, Julian, another one of those answers that he's got. However, he's not taking time off from love, is he, Julian? He's not taking time off from love. He's going to get in there. He's going to just have a good old time. Nurse Chapel and him are getting it on. This is good. This is good. I am so happy for her. I am so happy. I would have liked to have seen a sex scene, but that's okay because it would be great if the next episode they wake up and she's in bed and they're in bed together. Like this would be great. But it is what it is. I don't think she's ever been with a Vulcan before, or let's say even somebody who's half Vulcan. So it's gonna be a new experience for her. I don't think he's a virgin, and maybe he is, but even so, I think he knows what he's doing, but lucky girl. She just happened to stop by to see how he is. Next thing you know, she's getting laid. who could ask for more in an episode, Julian? I don't know. I don't know about you, but that's exactly the type of stuff I like to see in an episode.
Waiting a little bit might have been a little bit.
You think it's too soon?
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as we know, it's only a couple hours later. I mean, come on. Like I said, it's like Ross and Rachel and Friends. She's like gets upset because he went out with some other women, and he's like, "We were on a break." As soon as the deck was clear. As soon as the deck was clear, he was getting with Christine, and I don't think he expected that she was going to jump him like that so soon.
Well, he pretty much, I kind of felt like he shoved his tongue down her throat, which I'm fine with. Like, I'm not like, oh, he shouldn't have done that. I certainly would never, ever say that. But what I'm kind of curious about is, can I do this? Can I start I don't think I can do that. But something, Julian, what's really funny about it is it hadn't occurred to me that, maybe it is too soon. Maybe they should have waited a little while. I feel like they've known each other for years, though, right? Like, you think it's too soon because of the circumstances with him telling, to Prin literally just seconds ago that we shouldn't be doing this.
I wouldn't say years, because they only met when she came on board the ship, but it's been one season and 10 episodes of, I mean, we don't know exactly how long they've been known each other, but it did seem slightly indecorous that as soon as his betrothed is like, let's take a break. A few hours later, he's jumping into the sack with Christine, which, hey, if Christine, jumps me like that, I'm not going to say no. I ain't going to say no at all.
All right. Well, I started a poll, and I just wanted to know whether or not, is it too soon, guys? Let me know in the poll whether it is too soon, whether you guys, this is not, I just was kind of curious as to how the rest of the community might feel on this one, just for kicks and giggles. Was it too soon? Should they have waited a little while, or was it more of a, they've been waiting forever. They've been waiting forever. Enough of the, looks across the turbo lift and the, all that stuff. They've already shared a kiss before in season 1, and that was in front of to so apparently he likes, they like people to see them kissing. Like she's down for a lot. I think, first of all, that they genuinely like each other, and there's no reason why they shouldn't do anything, because they're on a starship and they're never promised tomorrow. That's the thing. That I think that their lives are much more dangerous than other people, because they are on these missions, which tend to be dangerous. I think they should go for it. I think they should take a chance, explore one another. The question really is, what's going to happen in the future between them? I just think that it is really interesting to see the reaction the next morning. What will the next morning be like, Julian? What will it be? Will it be breakfast in bed? Will it be, here is typical, Vulcan breakfast, and she's like, I don't eat that. I am human. I eat different. Will he adjust to this? How will their lives change, Julian? I just can't wait to see all the little fun things that will go along with this type of rendezvous going forward. What do you think, Julian? Will they have breakfast in bed? What can we expect from these two lovebirds?
All right, so we only have 5 episodes left in this season. And if they are going to continue playing some of that theme, my guess is 9.5 weeks of Pon Farr.
Oh my gosh. Let the fanfare begin. This is gonna
I think they're going to go for the tropiest of tropey, feeling uneasy and awkward. They're going to go with the awkward. Spock's going to get all awkward because his logic is going to come back mostly. We'll see how he's going to play that. But yes, his Vulcan half is going to be back, and so he would have to be, dealing with that. And so, yes, they could go with the total, oh, but aren't we trying to make this work? And he'd be like, I don't know if this is quite appropriate, Christine.
And but you still want to do it right, and he'll say, yeah, of course. That doesn't mean we're not sleeping together anymore. I'm just saying maybe we shouldn't. Oh, okay, fine. Wow, that was close.
Yeah, everybody goes, oh, but Vulcans can only do that every 7 years. It's like, no. You don't get it. They can have sex whenever they want. It's the mating ritual that happens every 7 years.
He has had a very unusual biological change, Julian. This whole thing that this alien entity might have done to him may have changed that as a reality for him. Do we know for sure? Maybe.
Maybe. But, we also know in Amok Time, Spock states that he had hoped that his, being half human would have saved him from feeling the drives, but it didn't, and he needed to get to Vulcan or else he was going to die. I'm going to die if I don't work it out. So,
I love that one, Tom. Hi, the Vulcan pickle. That's great. Mikey Lito says, what are you doing in here, Spock? Oh, this is my favorite. J&H edits as Captain, with your permission. I have Nurse Chapel back in my quarters. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh yes, today is Bastille Day. I had completely forgotten about this. Yes. Don Ranger Power. Today is Bastille Day.
Motaroy.
Yes, I completely forgot about this. Yes, and despite the passing of Star Trek Enterprise executive producer Manny Coto, which we did see advertised, Don Ranger Power, happy Bastille Day.
Inglorious Trexperts did a wonderful retrospective of Manny's work with Trek and some of his other stuff, and they had Mark Altman had the interviewed recording that he'd done with him when he was working on 50-Year Mission, and so they played that, which was really interesting to hear him talking about some of the stuff. One of the things is a little off topic, but it's still Trek related. Is that in Enterprise there's an episode in the 4th season where they have the Klingons who got a hold of a bunch of the augment genetic stuff and tried to make Klingon super soldiers and ended up creating a virus that was killing them off. They kidnapped Phlox to try and help them with a cure, and they end up coming up with a cure which ends up removing their brow ridges, which ends up kind of doing a canon type of, here's how we can have Klingons with brow ridges and Klingons without brow ridges. And there are some people out there who go, there was no need for them to do this explanation. Oh, let's create an episode that explains why there are Klingons without brow ridges. Manny Coto in the interview describes that was never their intent. It was never their thought that they were trying to retcon or explain why there were Klingons in TOS without brow ridges. Their whole intent was what would happen if Klingons got a hold of genetic material to try and create super soldiers. Would they do that? Of course they would. They're Klingons. They would try and create the greatest Klingon soldiers they ever could. That was the only thing, and so it's kind of interesting to hear him say that was never we weren't even thinking about that when we were writing it. It just happened that way, and so there, I say to you, Mr. Steve Shives, who had a problem with that episode because of that very misplaced notion of what they were trying to do with that episode. So there you go. Just a quick story about Manny Cotto.
No, that's a very insightful story about him, and I'm glad Don Ranger brought up that unfortunately Manny Cotto did pass away at 62. He wrote for 24, which was on, I think, for like 9 seasons, Julian. That's a long time, maybe longer than that, actually. It might be longer than 9 seasons. So, guys, I'm sorry if I'm incorrect. But he also wrote American Horror Story, which is one of my favorite series, as well, of course, Star Trek Enterprise, Dexter, Odysee 5. And the first screenplay to break the $1 million barrier. Certainly something to think about here. It says, for his work, he spent 4 seasons on American Horror Story and 2 more on American Horror Stories. And so it is very interesting. And I remember Enterprise when it came out, and how fantastic. I enjoyed Enterprise a lot. I never watched all the episodes of Dexter, but certainly I'd say his love of Star Trek permeated his life and his worldview. So it's very sad that he has passed away. It feels like it's kind of young, but it's
That's cancer for you.
Yeah, it feels very young for him to pass away, unfortunately. And everybody, thank you for the kind words towards him. Certainly, may he rest in peace, and our thoughts and prayers to his family. And Julian, thank you for letting us know about the interview that you were talking about with
it's
him.
really good. Seek it out, guys.
Yeah, and J.H. Edis says he loves 24. And so, Julian, another very interesting, I can't believe it's already 50 minutes in here. Another very interesting story has to do with nominations for some of our favorite Star Trek shows. Star Trek Picard and Lower Decks have got Hollywood Critics Association awards. I'm not surprised that Star Trek Picard season 3 would get a ton of awards. What are your thoughts on that for the nomination for these shows?
Well, I think that's pretty cool. They also got nominated for 2 Emmys as well. So I think, it's really great that Picard was noticed as well as it was. And, I'm kind of torn as far as the Emmys go, because my favorite Andor was also nominated for some things there, and I hope for Andor to do really good, but they probably won't. They'll probably get beat out by this stuff because it's just Star Wars. But I hadn't been aware of Lower Decks, but that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, and I was glad to hear about that. I didn't know that they were even up in the running for it, which is fine that they did get something here, or at least they're contenders in that. And that is wonderful. And so for the recognition, I think that is so important. And here they're talking about some of the other nominations. You mentioned Andor, certainly Queen Charlotte, which is a fantasy. It's 100% pure fantasy. Was wonderful. The Crown, which has been nominated several times.
I really like The Crown.
It is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And The Boys, The Diplomat, Handmaid's Tale, quite a few nominations going through, as you said. There can be only one, right? And then, of course, the Best Actor in a Streaming Series, of course. Patrick Stewart is on that list. I like Penn Badgley. I've been watching him in You. I believe it's him, and really been enjoying that as well. Dominic West also for The Crown, I'm guessing. And of course, Diego Luna for Andor. And of course, the Best Supporting. I thought Ed Spielers would have been nominated here, but I don't know whether or not his role would fall into this. But if Brett Spiner was nominated, why not?
Yeah, and I see Stellan on there, probably from Andor, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Sewell. I assume that's from The Diplomat, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I haven't watched that series, actually. I've only seen snippets of it. Cynthia watched it all and has liked it, but I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing.
Exactly. And Ismael Cruz Cordova is nominated for, I believe it's the Rings of Power. Yep, he was. I believe that's what it is. I could be wrong on that. And here we have some of the female nominees here as well. Not surprised, Jerry Ryan.
Oh yeah, I'd love for her to get it, but she's going up against Genevieve O'Reilly. But I have a feeling some of these others, the other more high profile, is Emily Swallow, huh?
Yeah,
I assume that's for Mandalorian.
that's right.
We don't even see her face.
Yeah, yeah, she's stunningly beautiful. I kind of wish we get to see her face at least once during that whole thing, personally.
Oh yeah, I thought that would have been a thing that they should have done within that third season.
Mm-hmm. And then here are the best actresses in a drama. I'm assuming Vanessa. I don't remember what Vanessa Kirby is nominated for, but yeah. Here's the list of nominees. The best actress, Gwendolyn Christie. I'm assuming for the Game of Thrones spinoff, which I can never seem to remember the name of it.
Is she in House of the Dragon?
Isn't she, or was she not? Oh, I know what she's nominated for. The Sandman.
Yeah, Sandman.
Sandman, that's the one that I'm thinking of, and I just remember that's why she's nominated for that. And I wouldn't be surprised if she got it for the Sandman. I think she was great in that.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
she was only there a little bit. She really didn't have a lot of time to show off.
Lizzo, of course, is in The Mandalorian, so we'll see if she gets it. We'll see. Best writing in a streaming drama series. I hope Picard gets this. I think The Crown has won several years already, but
yeah,
what do you think, Julian? Will Picard get it?
My heart is with Andor. I like the writing in Andor a lot more than Picard. As much as I enjoyed Picard, I think Andor all the way through is so tight, and had every episode had me, up and down with emotions and wondering what the heck is going to happen, and just on the edge of my seat so many times that I myself would go with Andor, but I haven't. I like Picard and I like The Crown. I don't remember watching all of this last season of The Crown. I don't think I've sat down to watch it because that's all the the Diana stuff, and so I haven't. And of course, once again they changed out some of the primary characters or actors playing the characters, which has been so weird. I really, that first season of The Crown I really liked. The actress who was playing Elizabeth, and so
Claire Foy, right?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
she was wonderful in that, and she has actually won quite a few awards for the Crown and Emmys and everything. So she's done very well, as has much of the cast done for that for the Crown. So, and yes, Mikey Lito, I couldn't make it up. As Tom Jr. Jackson says, I hope Lizzo wins. So let's see what happens. Certainly, Julian, it's something to think about. And of course, we have to also talk about Harbinger, which I just want to make sure we talk about. JH Edits also agrees with you. Andor was excellently written. While I love Picard, it borrowed from Red October. But interesting, JH Edits. Fair. And I did just also want to mention in the poll, 64% of you agreed it was too soon, guys. 64%.
Too soon? Really?
Isn't that what it says? Too soon, yes or no? So 64% said yes.
Wow. I guess I was not in the minority.
Says yes. It's too soon. Thanks to everybody who participated in the poll, who said too soon. Remember, the poll exactly said Spock shags Chapel. Too soon? 64% said yes. 67% said yes. 33% said yeah. 67% said yes. So yeah, guys, I'm going to end the poll. And thank you for participating in that. It was wonderful to get your opinions about whether it was too soon or not. I am in, I guess, the minority there. I think it was right on time, guys. Right on time. I think it was, just great. And I guess they felt they couldn't show it. But like I said, I hope they wake up. And as you said, Julian, I hope he wakes up with bacon in his hand, in one hand and one arm around Chapel in the other. So that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see in the morning. That's the type of wake up I want to see. And of course, something like that. Oh, thank you, JH Edits. So let's talk about Harbinger before we go. We're already at an hour because we have fun in the show. There's a lot of fun, and we are enjoying ourselves. So I'm not going to lie. You and I do enjoy the show. We are going to talk about it, and I can't remember what chapters we're doing.
14 and 15.
Okay, 14 and 15. So I'm just going to put that at the bottom so we can see it. Harbinger chapters 14 and 15. Oh, Julian, the plot thickens. I'm trying to remember what happened in 14, even though I literally just read it today.
I just wrote down some notes, so I got them right here.
Okay.
So we open up on board the Enterprise. Kirk is in his quarters, and D'Amato seeks him out and asks because
please go on the be part of the ground crew, or the away team.
He needs to be part of the landing crew, the landing party on Ravenar. Kirk does not think that he should. He thinks that he should still be taking some time off because he wouldn't be. He might be not making decisions rightly. He explains that he needs to make sure he understands his wife dying as part of her duty in Starfleet, and he wants to know if it made a difference. Was it important? Was there a reason for this to happen? He doesn't want it to be meaningless, and he needs to be there to know that, or else he won't be able to close. He won't be able to have closure on this.
And he's a geologist, so why would he be going on that trip anyway? What do you think, Julian?
Well, partially because of I think what Zhang had said about what they were doing. He lets on a little bit about why he was there in the first place earlier on in the book, so I think they also, if something happened, they need to know what kind of things might have happened. Coming to a new planet, a geologist is often included on the landing party anyway, if it's a place that they've never been before. Certainly Enterprise has never been to Ravenar, and because of the secrecy of the whole situation, I doubt there's anything in the Starfleet databanks about Ravenar. So, yes, it would be normal for a geologist to be included. Okay. So no problem with him being there, but yes, Kirk agrees. We cut to our roustabout Quinn, who gets beat up a little bit on his ship and dragged in front of Quinn, who or Gans rather, who tells him that he is going to be making a delivery for him, and this is how you're going to pay off the debt that you owe me. Which is delivering some hardware to a planet where there's some dilithium, and he's going to be picking up this dilithium. And so Quinn's like, obviously, this is where they're going to take me out. And normally, if he's got contraband equipment, which they are already putting on board his ship, he's like, there's no way I'm going to make it past the security in the dock. They're going to check. The port authorities are going to check, and they're going to find it, and I'm going to find myself in the brig and Starfleet prison. So, I guess that's it for me. Either way, even if I get past them and I go to make this thing, then the guys who are making the sale that I'm making the delivery to, they're going to kill me, because that's how Quinn works. So he knows that this is it for him, so he makes a call. He knows it's a setup. So he contacts T'Pren, because she's already kind of shook him down for what's going on anyway. And he's like, look, this is the deal. Gans is going to try and take me out because I may know too much. So she's like, okay, you're going to do that, and don't worry about it. I'll take care of you, essentially. Pennington is haunting the bars, trying to come up with any snippets of conversation that he might be able to use as part of his ongoing story of finding out what the hell happened. Mm-hmm. And without finding anything there, he decides to go to the cargo hold warehouse where he has a contact, and he tries to get some information from them regarding C1 cargo, which is the classified cargoes, which apparently a lot has been...
That's what the C1 stands for.
Yeah, the C1 is classified, and a lot of it has been going in and out, and there hasn't been a lot of bills, regular bills of lading and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
they're just loaded onto the ship. Hush, hush.
Yes.
No word.
No paperwork.
That's right.
Yes. And Reyes heads over to Rana Desai's quarters for booty call, I guess, and finds out that that's closed for now. Due to the inquiry, she has decided that ethically it would not do for the person who's in charge of the inquiry, the prosecutor in charge of the inquiry, to be involved with the defendant in the inquiry. And so she's like, sorry, it ain't happening right now, and you need to leave.
So she's already recused herself, right?
No, she hasn't recused her, so that would mean she's not going to take part.
I thought she did recuse herself.
She thought that would be too obvious. And there would be no time for the JAG to send out a reciprocal officer to take care of it. So she's just plowing through with it, and she's going to remove everything else that could be seen as ethically, out of order.
What do you think she's going to do when they find out? Because they're going to find out.
I think she's hoping that by removing saying I stayed away from him this whole time, so I would not be influenced in any way by what was going on. Which, when you think about it, it's kind of silly because yes, if they find out that they were already involved, then it's like, who cares if you stayed away from him for the time of the inquiry? It's like, it doesn't matter. You already have an emotional involvement.
But we didn't sleep together last night, all right? So...
So, yes. So he heads off to a bar to get drunk because he's like, God damn it. So, Quinn finds he's able to leave the station thanks to arrangements made by T'Prin. And then, Chapter 15, the Enterprise arrives in Ravenar space and begins recovery of the wreckage from the Bombay and the Tholians. And it becomes obvious, yes, they can tell just by the initial sensors that there was a battle here. They were attacked by the Tholians, and that the Bombay used her self-destruct to take out at least one of the Tholian ships. And then Spock also detects that the entire surface of Ravenar has been sterilized. Zhang reveals that the site was also an underground excavation, but was classified. And that's why they need to go down, because as soon as they saw that it was sterilized, Kirk was about ready to go, well, there's no survivors, so let's go. And he's like, no, you don't understand. There was something down there, and that's why it was really set up, and that's why we need to go down and see if it's still there.
And he's been curious from the beginning about this station. Like,
yeah.
I think in the first chapter, he's like, well, how could something be built so quickly? There must be some reason. And he's been curious. He's going to find out why.
Kirk wants to get to the bottom of this. The fact that there was this excavation going on, but then they find out that Spock kind of like listens to what he's saying and says, well, the fact that this stuff was found at this certain time and was already started, but that the station was started like 2 years before they actually found the stuff on the surface that they were excavating. So, or beneath the surface. So they decide that this is not the real reason that Vanguard Station was originally put here. So this is a byproduct of, or something in addition to why Vanguard is out in the Taurus Reach. So once they get down to the surface, they find complete devastation. There's a huge crater exactly where the camp used to be. They find an artifact, and it was rigged to blow up, and it kills a red shirt. And Zhang is injured also in the knee. And once they get back to the Enterprise, Piper fixes his knee, even though he says, well, we might need to amputate, but then they decide they don't have to and take care of him. And Zhang's feeling guilty because he's like, it's my fault. This stuff that I was working on resulted in the death of this, Starfleet officer and the other people who were there on the planet. As far as you can tell, it's like, it's not good enough being classified. It's like, it's not good enough. I can't live with it. There needs to be, this is more important. So he decides to tell Kirk what he knows about the classified information and why they're actually there. And that is pretty much the end of chapter 15.
Yeah, it's such a great book, Julian.
It's really good. It's intriguing. I find myself, there's been lots of other things going on, but I'm surprised I haven't ordered the second book yet. I need to so I can start it.
Yeah, it's a remarkable series. I think that the book is just a fraction of how good this is going to get. It's been wonderful. I've enjoyed every single minute of it, and it's wonderful. So thank you for suggesting this book. And we're going to do another 2 episodes next week. Next week, I don't know what time we may be streaming because we're probably going to be at the con from what we have planned, let's say as of right now, guys. So I don't know whether there's an episode next week, but
so regarding Comic-Con, as far as I know, there's at least 3 Trek or Trek adjacent things happening on Thursday. So Inglorious Trexperts will be doing a panel. There will be another panel hosted by somebody else, which it will be anniversary for Free Enterprise. And I know that Rob will be at that panel for sure. And then I think there's another panel that is devoted to the documentary Greatest Geek Year Ever 1982. So all 3 of those things are happening on Thursday. I only know that the Free Enterprise panel is at 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. And apparently there is talk of some sort of a get-together for PGS stuff after that. I have yet to see, I haven't looked at the schedule exactly to see what time things are doing. Yeah. That's the panel at 4 o'clock. The Free Enterprise panel. Yeah, that's the one at 4 o'clock, I think.
Well, that's fantastic, and let's see how it works out in regards to scheduling and everything. So it's an exciting events for us for next week, which I'm mentioning now because we probably are not going to be doing PGS Treks next Friday. For that reason, I'm probably not going to be doing very much streaming after that, but I'm just mentioning it to you all so and it's going to be an exciting time. I don't know, J&H Edix. I doubt that. I don't think we're allowed to live stream from there. So just keep that in mind, JH Edits. No one is really allowed to live stream from there unless you are either part of SDCC. And they're really the ones who do that streaming.
Well, in addition, because I think that Paramount was going to be there doing stuff regarding Trek. The problem is now with the actors' strike, I doubt it. I don't know what they would be able to come up with. That's going to be a big impact. I had heard that there was going to be a panel with Rosario Dawson regarding Ahsoka, and of course she's not going to be able to do that with the strike going on. So that's kind of disappointing.
It is disappointing, and we'll see you later, Don Don Ranger Power, who says you must go. Have a great day. Live long and prosper, certainly. J&H Edit says, man, I miss you guys. Wish I could be there. It is disappointing, Julian. We don't know what exactly is going to happen next week. So I'm just going to be honest with you guys about that. This is going to be very unusual Comic-Con, not like the regular one. So we're just going to enjoy what we can. And that's all it's about, guys, just having a good time. Usually I go to these cons to see people. So that's my main reason for going in the first place. So it's going to be a good time. Yeah, so we're looking forward to it. Is there anything else that you would like to mention before we stop the show, Julian?
I don't think so. Other than I noticed in Trek Movie that it looks like the premiere for this season's Strange New Worlds ended up number 7 in the top 10 for its week. So aside from Picard, that is the second Trek show of the new era to make it into the top 10 in streaming. So kudos for them. I don't know how well it's continuing to do over the the consecutive 4 weeks after that. But,
it's the kiss, Julian. It's the kiss. That is what has made it premiere in the top 7, as far as I'm concerned. And probably my favorite comment of the night. And thank you, Mikey Lito. I so appreciate you doing that. Spock, don't talk with your mouth full of bacon. I really love it. Mikey Lito, you always know how to give me a chuckle and a smile. I want to thank Tom.
Make sure you swallow that bacon before you proceed south.
Make sure you do swallow that bacon, Spock. Certainly you enjoy your bacon. Tom Jr. Jackson, thank you for moderating. My collaborator, moderator, and good friend is here. Tom Jr. Jackson also has his own YouTube channel, so please make sure you subscribe to that. Thank you, everybody, for being here for PGS Treks. Also want to put up Tom Jr. Jackson's YouTube link, which is somewhere here, and I can't find it now. Here it is. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe to Tom Jr. Jackson's YouTube channel. It's right there. It is in the chat. Make sure you like and subscribe to his channel. He's got a great channel. He's doing so many fun live streams. You're going to enjoy that. And also subscribe to my channel, Positive Fandom, as well as the Burnettwork, guys. Please subscribe to both. So appreciate all of you who've come out here tonight. So appreciate it. You guys are the best, guys. Remember, tomorrow I'm going to be doing a stream with Lorena. We're going to be watching the first episode of the greatest geek year ever right here on the Burnettwork at 5 p.m. Eastern. Guys, there is no musings tonight. I just figured I'd mention it to you. Sorry.
That means I can get up early and go work out. So.
You can get up early and go work out. So, guys, on behalf of the Burnettwork, and on behalf of Julian, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And guys, Julian, where can people find you?
Right here on the Burnettwork and on YouTube, I'm Mushjul, and I'm on Instagram now, Julian Mushkin, and also Facebook, Julian Mushkin.
Wonderful. And guys, you can find me right here on the Burnettwork as well. Or you can also reach out to me on my YouTube channel, guys. It's called Positive Fandom. Please do like and subscribe to Positive Fandom. I could really use some more memberships. I so appreciate everything, guys. So, guys, please, thank you for everything. I hope you all are well. And, guys, remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, live long and prosper. But also remember to please be kind. Take care, everybody.
Cheers.